Right, guys. So, pretty chilly again here this morning, -4, and more snow. We've had more snow on the snow ploughs been, and the bin men were here yesterday. Come rain, shine, snow to empty the bins. So that's the council tax what we're paying. And I'm going to go into town today because I think they're still charging me councils. These things happen quite regularly. They're still charging me council tax on property that I sold last year. So I've got to go and sort that out. And it's only a minor thing, but it's better sort it out. And I've got to pay on this house. And they couldn't, where we pay the bills, it's like a one-stop shop type place. But they couldn't separate the different properties because it's like the taxes for the company. You know, all the property is owned by a company. If you're a Brexit Britain, well, I bought all the property before the EU came into it, so I've kept it in the company name, which suits me actually. I like that arrangement better because it's a limited company. So basically, I don't think that I actually own anything in my own name. I think that would be the way it's looked at. And there's a good thing now in Bulgaria that you don't have to file taxes if you've got one of these companies that own property, and you don't do any transactions or anything during the year. Then you don't have to file accounts, which is fantastic. I mean, that's in favour of people with companies, and it cuts down the bureaucracy on their side as well, probably. But the only people that probably will be a bit disappointed is the accountants, because they get paid for filing these accounts. So that's that. So what's happening now in everyone's rushed to Paris, right? Because now this is where it's all upside down. Everything's upside down in the world. If you look at it, look at the big picture. It's upside down. And I'll just explain why I say that. Because apparently America, I'll just say America and save saying the names, America and Russia, and are talking about peace. And I don't think that they're talking about how they're going to make the peace. I think America are making their stance clear, and this is coming out more and more now. They're making the stance clear that they're not going to be involved. It's not, they're not making it, being an intermediary between Russia and Ukraine. That's clear. That's become clear, absolutely clear. What they're doing is they're telling Russia about their stance, and then they're not getting involved any further. They're not being an intermediary, because they know as well as anyone that it's going to be almost impossible to get the two to speak with the current people in charge anyway. That's absolutely. So then they'd have to change the regime in Ukraine, and I don't think they want to get involved with any of that. And but the Europeans have they seem to have read it wrong, and they seem to be kind of thinking that would be the case, that America's going to be this intermediary and it's going to put the both things on the table. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening, in my opinion, and other people's as well. So that's what I think, that they're just setting a stall out, the Americans, and that's why they're not involving the Europeans at this stage, although I think they will do once they've had the talk in the summit, as they call it, in Saudi Arabia. So yesterday, the Europeans had their own summit, the emergency summit. Now, why would you have an emergency summit about peace talks which you don't even know the outcome yet? They don't know. They don't know the outcome. I think they get the gist now, at least. I think so. I'm not sure. But they've been told in no uncertain terms if they do certain things, like put troops in or anywhere near Ukraine, and it comes on top, the Americans will not be there. That they've made that absolutely clear, night and day. And they made a few other things very clear as well, night and day, that they will not be joining NATO at the moment, ever. And they've also said, well, on the Russian side, which I mentioned actually before, is they don't want Ukraine. They don't want it. Everyone thinks they've invaded this place and they're trying to take it over. That's not the case at all. Never has been. They do not want Kiev or Lviv, that area. I've got my theories, which no one's mentioned at the moment. I've got my theory that they would need to do what they want to do. They would need Odessa and the coast, because that would be everything would be too close for comfort there. And they've had some success from Odessa on the water, whoever it was, towards the Russian fleet. In the early days, now they've moved the fleet now away to a safer place. So I think they would need, and I think they want to the bottom section. They call it Nova Russia, that area, the whole way across the south of Ukraine. Nova Russia. And he's mentioned that before, but he's stopped mentioning it now, Putin, because he might give the game away. But I think that's what they're going to do. As soon as there's a collapse, which everyone's expecting, in the final collapse of the Ukraine military, then at that stage, I think they'd move into Odessa. That's my theory. That's my theory. But watch this space. That's what I think's going to happen. And they'll just join into like where Transnistria is, which is a Russian breakaway state in on the border with Romania and Moldova. Transnistria. And nobody recognises it except Transnistria and Russia. And I think they want that section along the Black Sea, so they got the hold of the Black Sea coast, because between Odessa, if you look on the map, between Odessa and Kiev, to the west of the Dnieper River, there's not much there. And I think that as long as the Ukraine have got all of that and the coast as well, then there's going to be an ever flashpoint, a forever flashpoint. That's my opinion anyway. So the guy from the garage has got his little snowplow out. He loves it. If you can hear it in the background, it's like a 4x4 Jeep with a plough on the front, and he takes every opportunity to use it. He doesn't need it because there's only a few inches outside, but he's obviously enjoying himself. So coming on to the Europeans, they've now had the summit in Paris, which they've said, I don't know what he's doing outside the house here. I'm going to go out in a minute anyway with the snow, with the snow shovel, and clear a few things around the car, and so it's about 5 inches, so nothing too major. And I've got to clear it before it freezes, because when it freezes, it's bad on the ankles and stuff like that. And I've got everything ready now. I've rescued my rake and the pick, which was buried last time in the snow. So now the wannabes. Now, not everyone was there. Hardly anyone was there, really. It was only that you got Macron, Stormer, Sweden, I think, and then you had like Ursula von der Leyen. Now she's not the head of state, but she thinks that like the EU are actually running the show, but they're not. They're starting to fracture now about who will send troops and who won't. So we'll just go through that. I think there's only 3 countries who've said that they're going to put these boots on the ground, but they don't know what's going to happen yet, as in the peace deal, which looks like it's a long way away. A long way away, which will suit Russia actually. And to be cynical, the reason why it'll suit Russia is they can destroy a lot more equipment and, sadly, people in the process, because it's like a bit of a rout at the moment. If you follow the battlefield the way it's going on the battlefield, and plus they're not getting the same supply of money, especially, and equipment. I think America is still supplying equipment, although they're talking about this peace and all that. And I think America are just going in and saying how peace will look like. That's what they want to know, what peace will look like. And I think the Russians will definitely not go to northwestern Ukraine, if and when they win the confrontation or operation or whatever you want to call it, war. When they win, I don't think they're going to go over there. And they've said to people like Hungary and Poland, I'm not sure Poland so much, Hungary and Romania, they've said, we don't want that area. And Hungary and Romania, they've got a claim there, and I think Slovakia. And I think even Poland have. But I'm not sure that they want to pursue that, because they'll all come up against each other then in Galicia. And so they may not want to go there. Poland, there's no mention of that. And actually in Bulgaria there was a mention that like there's a section of area which was under Bulgarian control for many years around the Odessa region, and they said they have a claim to that. But like, if I was them, I'd stay clear. But that's what I can see happening anyway. I think Russia want Odessa, and I think it's strategically probably necessary. If you look at the map and how it's going to end up, I think they need to control Odessa, because they've got to go past there, all their shipping and all the rest of it, and they'll be forever that kind of doubt in the Black Sea, But as far as invading Europe is concerned, I highly doubt it. But like, that's only my opinion. So you've got all these people now in in um, in Paris, and actually the most hard line out a lot of them is Keir Starmer about they've got to carry on and they've got to win, which everyone should know that basically the conflict is over, all but in in name. And it's even worse than that. They they look like they're getting hammered at the moment. What's left of the Ukrainian people, which people think otherwise. I don't know. I still don't know. And people said in the comments they must know, and I'm not sure really that some of them actually do take it on board, and they know what's actually going on. But their actions and the rhetoric says otherwise, or whether it's just like hard-nosed propaganda or whatever. Well, like Starmer, and he thinks they've still got a chance of winning, and they're going to sort it out, and Russia are going to clear it off somehow. So there's Starmer. France haven't even made a statement yet about troops, and Sweden said they'll send troops, and who was the other one? I don't know. Poland said they definitely won't. I think there's only 3. Germany said they won't. Romania aren't even there, and they're the biggest neighbour. They're the biggest neighbour on the block, and Hungary weren't invited, for obvious reasons, on Slovakia, and they're all the neighbours. And Poland have said they won't get involved, and that's obvious why. And a lot of people said they've been heavily involved anyway, even with manpower, and they've took a hiding, so they don't want to have any part of it. And so this peacekeeping force now, the UK have got 25,000 troops, and that would be most of the frontline ready, I would think, number. If there's only 80,000 in the army, and they're going to send 25,000, I mean, that's the bigger part, because there's a lot of other people that aren't on the front line in a military operation. They've got to do all the communications, all everything. Make the sandwiches. They've got to do the lot, the communications, the fuel lines, and all that kind of stuff. The engineers have got to build all this infrastructure and bridges, and they're calling it a peacekeeping force, which Ukraine, that's not what they're asking for. That's not what's on their agenda. He's asked for like 1 million troops to army, so they can go and beat Russia. And that's what he wants. And I don't know what they're going to be driving, because all the equipment's already in the scrapyard over there, most of it. So and the stuff that they have got, they reckon it's not suitable for this type of war, the land war. Anyway, they're all like other details. But why do we know all this, and they don't seem to? They don't seem to take it on board, whether they know or not. That's not the way they're talking. Now, how would Britain go and strong arm? Let's face it. How would they go and be a peacekeeping force and strong arm and get between the Ukrainians and the Russians and get, to keep the peace, as they're saying? I don't think there'll be any need for a peacekeeping force. actually, especially a military one. I don't think there'll be that at all. Maybe administrative, but like um, once Russia say that that's the line, that'll be it. That'll be it. And let's see if it includes Odessa. I think it will, and that's the type of thing that Trump will be discussing with Putin. Not like how to do a peace deal or be an intermediary. He'll want to know what they think it's going to look like afterwards, and that's that. There's no peacekeeping. There won't be in the near future. There won't be any need for peace. It'll be a surrender. If you look at the way the battlefield's going, and Russia won't want to carry on advancing at this pace, because it's hell for leather at the moment. But they've been patient in the Kursk region, doing a slow job, and getting more people in there for annihilation. It's terrible what's happened there. But that's what's happened. So that's the situation at the moment, where and it's all they've got Mark Rutte there. He's the CEO of NATO. This is in Paris. Ursula von der Leyen. They've got the Tusk is there. All the people that you'd expect to be there. Starmer, and he's not even in the EU, but he's now he's going right against now the opposite of the USA. So how's that going to sit now with the relations between UK and America? He's made a lot of bad moves, Keir Starmer, because they were the only real big ally and trading partner they had left. And the only reason they still have this relationship is UK is the centre of money laundering. That's all. World money laundering, that's what they're useful for the Americans. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. And maybe Fisherman's Friends, they're made in just north of Blackpool. So the Fisherman Friends, you can't get them in America. And things like that. Worcester sauce, although they probably make that in America. And things like that. HP sauce. That's the kind of thing that Britain will be useful for in the future. Nothing else. So that's the situation at the moment, and so the summit's coming up, and there's a preliminary meeting in the next day or so between Marco Rubio, and Sergei Lavrov, the two foreign ministers. So you may find out a little bit, but I think before the major summit, they'll keep it like a little bit under the radar, under wraps. So we'll see what happens, and I think the Europeans, they're still talking about war, and the other people are talking about peace. So in a nutshell, the Europeans are talking about how to keep the war going, not how to stop it. Anyway, good luck with that. Good luck with everything. Cheers.